Mmm, mmm, mmm. That was delicious, Sai. Thank you. It's been a while since I had a real good salad. Glad you liked it, Commander. I made sure to add lots of leafy greens, berries, nuts, and avocados. A whole bunch of stuff to prevent cognitive decline and help with brain health and both cognitive and academic performances and improve memory. Huh, I think I'm perfectly fine in all those categories. But I appreciate the thought nonetheless. So, did that cost you too much, getting the ingredients from the chef? Oh, I grew them myself, actually. I have a nice little garden for fruits, veggies, and pretty much all other foods you can grow naturally. It's actually a really soothing hobby that helps me keep my blood pressure down. And stop the Fatalis armor from taking over my mind. Have you ever considered not wearing the Fatalis armor anymore?
Ha! No.
Oh well, at least gardens like yours help the environment too. Too bad people are the only ones that do that. Imagine if animals could help the environment. You know what? I think you could use another salad. I'll be right back. Nature and the environment outside of our settlements is a beautiful thing that should be cherished and protected at all costs. And while some humans are willing to help the environment, we often make the mistake of believing we are the only things that can do so. But in fact, nothing is further from the truth. Many animals in nature often help the environment around them just by doing their day-to-day lives. Some examples being bats being masters of insect pest control, beavers making dams that trap water and create ponds that keep the soil moist and vegetation green, which hinders fires, and even ants aiding in decomposition and aerating the soil and recycling nutrients as they dig tunnels. And of course, monsters do their parts for the environment as well, such as Puke Puke eating the tough-shelled plants of the ancient forests and depositing them elsewhere, increasing germination and the spread of these plants. Or Zoramagdaros leaking lava throughout its life, enriching soil and even making new land masses. Another example would be our monster of discussion for today, a gentle giant with a body perfect for creating land from which new life can flourish. But get on his bad side and Garangolm will show you he's equally gifted at destruction. Also known as the Wandering Colossus, the final member of the Three Lords, alongside Lunagaron and Malzeno. Technically the first, but I messed up the order. Garangolm is another relatively simple-looking creature like Lunagaron. It looks like an absolutely massive gorilla, but instead of normal primate feet, it has three-toed feet similar to an elephant's, and it also has a long, thick tail ending in a four-digited hand-like structure. But now onto the most notable feature. Garangolm is covered in a thick, rigid, stone-like brown shell covering the top and outside of their bodies, forming into fearsome natural gauntlets on their forearms, and forming into a lion-like mane around their head, forming into a natural chin guard and crown-like helmet, giving them a block-like head shape like Frankenstein's monster. And they also have a layer of moss growing on it for some extra color, more on that later. Found in the swamps of the Citadel and the flooded forest, Garangolm is the gentle giant of the Three Lords. It merely wishes to either sleep or peacefully roam its environment, scraping and digging up grass to munch on, but occasionally enjoying a nice fish. And it should absolutely be allowed to roam, as Garangolm is one of the most beneficial monsters to the environment we know of. It is the ultimate gardener. Its massive size, dense muscles, and thick shell mean it's very heavy, so it flattens out the land as it walks. And its tail functions very similar to a rake, tilling the land and recycling the nutrients in the soil as it walks. And it is known to prefer areas with nutrient-rich soil. But most fascinating of all, Garangolm secretes a sap-like fluid that promotes the growth of plants. So he is both the gardener and the fertilizer. However, there is a saying that fits Garangolm perfectly. There are 3 things all wise men fear: the sea and storm, a night with no moon, and the anger of a gentle man.
I don't feel safe.
Yes, when something angers Garangolm, even something as insignificant to him as a pack of boggy, he changes from mild-mannered Bruce Banner into the rage-fueled Incredible Hulk. And that analogy was very much intentional, because Garangolm's strength increases alongside its fury, and its rage will not be satiated until it or its foe are dead, or if said foe escapes. So even though Garangolm is among the least threatening monsters you'll find, it can most certainly handle itself in a fight. So Lunagaron may be able to outmaneuver and outskill them. It is still a very risky endeavor for them. Definitely do not underestimate the gentle giant. So, what will it look like when that anger is aimed at you? Well, obviously, it is a massive primate, so it is immensely strong. Arguably the physically strongest of the 3 lords, and its fists are essentially covered in rock, so it's hitting you with the force of a truck with stone brass knuckles. That cannot feel good. These attacks come in the form of powerful slam attacks from either hand, sweeping attacks much in the same way, or a jumping slam with both fists, which he'll immediately follow up with a second slam. And he's not done with slams yet, as he'll jump into the air and bring all his massive weight down for a body slam. He's also known to slam his face into the ground and charge forward while dragging his face like a plow of death, or a spin attack with his tail. He's also well known to use boulders as projectiles, either launching 3 at you like Tigrex, or 1 massive one at you like Old World Rajang. And all of this is before Garangolm busts out his trump cards. Recall, if you will, that Garangolm secretes a sap-like substance from its body. This sap is capable of hardening plants, soil, and Garangolm's armored shell, giving it even more protection. And as one might imagine, it is very sticky, something Garangolm uses to its advantage by plunging its fists and face into the ground, covering its left arm and head with water moss absolutely sopping with moisture, while covering its right arm in semi-molten rock. And this adds a big layer onto its already staggering physical attacks, such as explosions of fire or water from the respective hand's overhead slam, adding an extra sweep or slam to its double slam attacks, which will unleash explosions of both elements with each attack. Each placement of its palms on the ground of its plowing attack will also unleash bursts of fire and water, culminating into an explosion of steam as it rips its head from the ground. It's also been known to take a page out of Yang Xiaolong's book by unleashing an explosion from its fiery hand to launch itself high into the air, either to maneuver around a nearby opponent or launch itself at a distant opponent to come down on them with a slam from its left fist, unleashing a giant wave of water in the process. And as one might guess, attacks from these limbs can leave you burning from fire blight or waterlogged with water blight. And while I've stated it before, it's worth repeating, Garangolm is very smart. In addition to understanding how to weaponize its sap and the moss covering its body, it also has enough of a grasp on science to understand the principle of flash boiling, a phenomenon that occurs when the liquid rapidly boils due to a rapid heating. And it applies this in combat with its 3 deadliest moves: slamming its head down on a target, then slamming both fists on the already downed target, the molten rocks heating the moss to create an explosion of steam to further broil the target. Next, it drags its face across the ground to launch its target into the air before clapping them between both hands in another steam explosion, or ripping up an absolutely massive chunk of ground, heating it with its molten rocks, and slamming its moss-covered hand down on it for an enormous explosion that rivals Primordial Malzeno's dragon explosion. So, I know this creature sounds like quite the tall order, but remember, it is still the least threatening of the three lords. First off, it is weak to thunder and fire. What? It's weak to fire? It coats one of its hands in freaking lava! How does fire hurt it?
Who wrote this?
Regardless, it is weak to these two elements, with ice at least having some level of effectiveness, but water and dragon do not help at all. In addition, all ailments except exhaust are at least slightly effective, with blast, fireblight, and thunderblight having the greatest effect. But most importantly, Garangolm is a very big and heavy monster, meaning it's generally quite slow. Also not helped by the fact its attacks have a huge wind-up, so that and its low speed, meaning its moves are easily telegraphed. See it winding up one fist, move to the other arm. Sweeping its arm, roll back away from it or forward towards its legs. Raising both hands up, he's gonna do his jumping slams. Roll forward and go under him. Widening its stance and crouching low, gonna jump for a body slam. Get out of there. Putting its face in the dirt, it's plowing time. Run for it, or better yet, roll to the side. Reaching across its body, boulder toss, roll to the side it's reaching for. As for his elemental state, if you attack his arms enough, you'll break off the molten rock or water moss, resulting in an explosion of either element that will knock Garangolm down, allowing you to get some free hits in. As for its armor and weapons, they absolutely do not disappoint. The male armor looks almost similar to Gammoth armor, an absolute armored titan, only made of stone instead of bone. Meanwhile, the female armor looks like a noble elite knight or an officer in a royal command force. As for the weapons, they are mighty and intimidating, if slightly bulky. Even the ones that are supposed to be small and slender, like the dual blades or the bow, are wider than most hunters' arms, maybe even their whole body. The Palico and Palamute sets are also amazing as ever, with the Palamute looking like a horse made of stone, and the Palico armor making them look like a tiny flying fortress. And this is to die for. If the Palico crouches down, the armor actually shifts to make them look like an adorable little castle. I love it. And so, that is Garangolm, truly deserving of his spot as a member of the Three Lords. He is truly amazing, such a gentle giant and an important part of any ecosystem it's in, compacting the land, tilling the soil, and fertilizing the plants. And yet, when he has to, he's more than prepared to take on any creature that attempts to give him trouble. Between his massive size, incredibly tough armor, and ability to stick water moss and molten rock to its shell, it's unbelievable that any animal is willing to go after this guy. And in the end, he reminds us the vital lesson not to judge a book by its cover, as some more aggressive monsters may start a fight but back off if it's not worth the effort. While this gentle giant never looks for a fight, but if one comes to him, he's more than willing to finish it. So it's always best to let sleeping apes lie. So there you have it, everyone. That is my lore on Garangolm. Again, I absolutely love it. It's the most gorilla-looking monster of all the apes. Rajang and maybe Congalala are kind of close, but Rajang still has baboon elements, and Congalala doesn't quite fit the bill. So yeah, Garangolm, you look at that and instantly think gorilla. So I really like that. Gorillas are cool animals. And I love his rocky armor. It's so cool and badass, and I just love it. And I like the gentle giant angle. I like the more peaceful, calm, serene monsters. And if Rise had been more like World, where you could admire the environment and the monsters without them getting aggressive unless you attack them first, I'm sure it would have been like that, and we could have marveled at it all the more. And I really like how it coats them with the molten rock and water moss again. That is so cool, and how he mixes them together for elemental attacks and mixing them for steam explosions, and his ultimate attack, the giant rock explosion. It is just so cool. I only wish that he did it more often. Like, you're lucky if you see it at all. It's a rarity to see. I just wish it were more common. I wish there was more to say about him, but again, the wiki was pretty lacking. Everything I got was pretty much all there was, so still good. I just wish there was more. He's a really fascinating creature I would like to talk about more, but I'm happy with what we got. So, for next time, that's gonna be Congalala. He's a fun little early game monster. I like him a lot. The pink coloring is cute. He looks like a gorilla, which are cool monsters. I know, like I said, he has some elements to make him look not like a gorilla, more of a goofy parody of one, but still cool. And his fart attacks and poop throwing are pretty funny. Disgusting, yes, but still funny. We need more comic relief monsters in the game, I do think. And yeah, Congalala fits the bill. He's a really cool and cute monster. I'm looking forward to seeing him again in Wilds. And it's so cool that when it comes time to throw hands, they are no pushovers like you would expect. I'm assuming you've all seen Adventures of the Guild, the Monster Hunter short movie featuring Aiden, where a Congalala took on a freaking Devil Joe and was lasting a solid minute. So yeah, we do not give them enough credit, and they are just awesome. So yeah, I'm looking forward to shedding a light on them and giving them the respect they deserve. But that's going to be for next time. For now, thank you all so much for watching. If you like this, want to see more, go ahead and slash that subscribe button. If you like this video, give a quick cut to the like button. Leave a comment down below. Share it around with all your friends. Be sure to click the notification bell so you never miss it when I upload a video. And be sure to follow me on Twitter. Then I'll see you in the next video. But until then, ladies and swordsmen, stay sharp.